looking around Infiniti's website, what do you see here? Well, an old sedan. Here's the new QX80, which I'm still excited to drive for the first time. Hopefully, I can get in the press fleet soon. But it's just a lot of crossover news, or kind of lack thereof of crossover news. Really, the only thing new for Infiniti crossovers is the new QX80, and on the QX60, they got rid of the bulletproof VQ V6 and put in the notorious but still fun to drive. I like driving the VC Turbo 2-liter. So they got rid of the V6, put in the 2-liter variable compression turbo in the QX60. And that vehicle went from a decent buy to now a lease only, in my opinion. And now we have confirmation that Infiniti is officially just an SUV shelve itself brand. 3 years ago, we had, or I should say 2 years ago or so, the Q60. Still see them from time to time. The Q60 is a very beautiful coupe. Just coupes don't sell well. It just didn't have much of a future, the Q60, even though it's it's kind of like a future, or should I say modern version, just slightly modern, of like the G35 and G37 coupe. All right. Infiniti is killing the Skyline slash Q50 sedan. And in the past 2 years, I've driven the Q50 3.0 with around 300 horsepower, as well as the Red Sport with 400 horsepower. And they're good cars. They're fun to drive. They just, and they're gorgeous. They still look good, even though this design is ancient. It's still a handsome design. That's never Nissan and Infiniti's weak spot, is exterior design, in my opinion. It's just they never really updated it or cared to improve it over the decade or so that it was out. And now it's officially gone. The Q50, as we know it, replacing the G series, came out in 2014, lasting until 2024, will not be going ahead for 2025. They replaced the VQ 3.7 liter V6 with 328 horsepower for the turbocharged 3 liter with 300 horsepower. And remember, there was a hybrid Q50, and I still see them. Well, you're lucky to see them, but I remember seeing one in the past year or so, and I'm like, holy cow, that is a Frankenstein of a vehicle, the Q50 hybrid. They only made it for just a few years, and they discontinued it in 2018. I didn't even know they put a turbocharged 4-cylinder in the Q50 at all from 2016 to 2019. That's news to me. I don't know if I've ever seen one. They remind us that the Q50 had this U or yo, I'm gonna butcher this, I don't speak or read French, but the U Rouge concept. And it had the GTR's engine, so it had well over 500 horsepower from the 3.8 liter twin turbo V6. That never made it to production, unfortunately, which reminds me of the Project Black S that was supposed to also come to the coupe version, the Q60. This vehicle would have been just amazing to have. It's one of the best. If it came to the market, it would have been the best looking cars on the market. It's absolutely stunning. But yeah, rest in peace Q60, rest in peace Q50, and any high performance models that they ever really planned for them. It just, they never came to fruition. I mean, this thing was absolutely gorgeous. 536 horsepower from the Project Black S. Again, I know it's not exactly the Q50, but it's the coupe version of the Q50, and unfortunately, we never saw this. And when I was at the Japan Mobility Show in Tokyo this past October, Infiniti had this to show. Yeah, this is supposed to be the concept of their fully electric sedan that keeps getting postponed. It was supposed to come in 2026 or 2027. Now it's postponed indefinitely without any concrete plans of when this vehicle will start production or what kind of power it would have, what kind of software, etc. We're still a long ways out. I think it's a cool looking sedan. I get Malibu vibes though at certain times, or Impala vibes, and I get also Snow Scoop vibes up front. But I think a production version of this could look really, really nice. There would also be a production version on the Nissan end as well. And here's the interior of the Q50, it is, well, it never was really updated. It looks like this if you get into a brand new one, which looks like a car that is 10, 15 years old. It looks very dated, but the exterior, in my opinion, does not look dated. It still looks fresh. It still looks good. It's a bit of a timeless design, the Q50 as well as the Q60. But apparently we're going from this to this. Just don't know when or how or what is going to be that electric vehicle. So here we are. Infiniti, more irrelevant than they've ever have been in the history of the brand, as they just don't, I mean, other than the QX80, I don't know if I can recommend any of their products over the competition. I don't know. I can't drive. I haven't driven that at the QX80, so I don't know if I can recommend that over the competition, but I've driven the Escalade with the V8. The V8, it's hard to pass up a solid V8 nowadays. And the QX80 is killing their V8, which is so good. That 5.6 liter is fantastic. So they're just a crossover brand at this point. I mean, the brand I've been disappointed with for a very, very long time. And just like parent company Nissan, I just don't know if there's anything coming down the hatch that's going to help them in the near term. We won't see hybrids from Nissan until 2027 or 2028. Let's see if we can go down memory lane here to see what other models have been discontinued. I never knew they made a Juke Infiniti. You called an ESQ. That sounds like a Mercedes, right? Rest in peace, Q50, Q60, which the Q60 it lives on, and the Z. Watch my latest review on the Z Performance. It's a really, really good car, and it's gorgeous. Q70, rest in peace, which was the Fuga in Japan, and the SEMA. Really missed the Q70. QX30 is still a good-looking car despite it being discontinued in 2019 and having a really, really decent run, the QX30. And then rest in peace, rear-wheel drive platform Infiniti SUVs. QX70, QX50, the FX series, the EX series. Rest in peace, G series sedans and coupes. Rest in peace, M series, the Q45, which is also known as the M35 and M45, and the good old J series, as well as the I series. It's really sad to see so many Nissan and Infiniti nameplates get killed. Yeah, it is what it is. It just seems like the whole brand is just, it's been unraveling for years now, and it's a catastrophe. It's really, really sad. Pour one out for our homie, the Q50, and I'm going to end it there. This V6 is an absolute peach. You know, I've driven this sort of tune in the Nissan Z. The Nissan Z is rear-wheel drive only, and this one is equipped with all-wheel drive. And I just feel like it puts down all the power so well. The Nissan Z especially comes from the factory with unmatched tires to the powertrain. What we have here is a different situation. Like when you're able to put down all the power and torque. Oh gosh, it's just so satisfying, and it's definitely safer as well when you're not having, you know, the rear wheel drive step out on you or anything like that. So I absolutely love this car. Surprisingly more than the Nissan Z. Yes, the Nissan Z maybe looks cooler, but when you add the functionality of having a bigger trunk as well as, you know, the rear seat set up here, and just the overall better luxury, like the ride quality in here is better than the Nissan Z. The materials are much better in here as well. So like I'd be picking this over a Nissan Z if you're in the market for a high performance Nissan performance car.